think the other thing to echo is the reason why this works is because of collaboration. When it can happen. It doesn't always happen because of fiscal constraints or fiscal responsibilities. But when collaboration happens and you utilize each other for resources and you keep egos out of the room, then things, and you communicate professionally, that's how things work. And that's
if that wasn't there, do you think the public would see an instant noticeable change?
Sure, 100%. Yes, definitely.
Well, we saw that 4 years ago.
There is no my department's better than your department,
right.
Okay? My office is stronger than yours, or my position, I'm higher than you are. We're all equal.
Right.
We're leaders of an agency, and our job is public safety, and we come together to make sure that the public is safe. And we do that without egos or personalities. It's all driven by professionalism and the fact that this is a great community and we want people to be safe in this community.
Plus, you and the DA are dealing with more than one police chief.
Correct.
You're throughout the county, so is Pittsfield, obviously it's the county seat.
Yep.
Is that where the bulk of the attention is, or is it just distributed?
It is. North Adams is a city as well. They have a lot of issues up there as well. We're working through some technicalities with North Adams. One of the biggest things, I'll be up front right now, one of the biggest things with some of the chiefs is regional lockups. Every sheriff across the county or across the state would love to be a regional lockup. That's what we do. We house prisoners or inmates and we watch them. The unfortunate thing is sometimes the police departments don't have adequate lockups or staffing to watch them. And we as well, when Chief mentioned about their staffing challenges, we have staffing challenges as well. At any given time in my facility with 200 plus inmates, I could have 2 officers, 3 officers at the hospital. At the same time, we have constant watches. We have individuals who are on a constant monitoring, which means the cell door is open and an officer sits right in front of the cell watching that individual because of his mental health challenges. And that happens frequently. So we all have these challenges, but we try to accommodate each other and help out with inmates. And one thing you got to remember is the people we house at our jail are court ordered. They come from the court. And unfortunately, when these guys arrest somebody, they haven't gone to court yet. They're not my responsibility. Until they're arraigned or there's a hape or a MIP for that individual, then they become my responsibility. But we try to work things out the best we can. And look, have there been times where I've had to deny certain services to other agencies because I fiscally can't afford it or I don't have the staff to do it? Yes. But we go on to the next case. And if I can help them out, we will help them out.
All right. Now, Chief Maddalena, I do want to touch on North Street. North Street gets talked about a lot by me also. And one of the biggest challenges happening on there is, well, there is some aggressive panhandling. That seems to be getting a little bit better, and I know the city has implemented like a co-responder type thing through the Board of Health. But e-bikes has become a huge issue, and I myself was hit by a kid on an e-bike, and it hurt. I mean, he hit me right in the back on North Street. I was filming. I know nationally that's being talked about. New laws, new regulations, statewide, it definitely is right now. Are you in ticketing or enforcing or able to do anything now with people going up and down the sidewalks?
It's difficult right now because this is one of those issues where legislation kind of fell by the wayside as technology increased, right? They just weren't able to keep up. So when you talk about e-bikes, you're talking about Tier 1, Tier 2. Mass doesn't have a Tier 3, but Tier 1 is basically up to 20 miles per hour with pedal assist. Tier 2 is up to 20 miles per hour with a throttle. And then anything beyond that is, it's kind of gray. Like, we're not really sure, right? The e-bikes aren't, even if they were, the kids are taking them off or the adults taking them off, they're not displayed regardless of what's a Tier 1, Tier 2, or what a Tier 3 is. The new legislation that the governor is trying to implement right now is basically going away with tiers as far as the mechanics of the bike and just specifically going towards speeds. So a Tier 0 would be 0 to 20, a Tier 1 would be 20 to 30, a Tier 3 would be 30 to 40, and then everything else will be like a motorcycle or a moped. That legislation hasn't come out yet. She's put that forward. They put a committee together to try to determine all that stuff, so it can come out at some point. But right now, I mean, if we have a kid who's on a tier 1 bike that's pedal assist, it's okay to ride it. It's a lot of the responsibility right now is on the parents, right? You're going to purchase these types of vehicles for your child. You have to explain to them the rules of the road, right? Because they're not allowed on the sidewalks. They're supposed to be in the roadway. They're not supposed to be on shared paths. But again, along with legislation, there's education. Education is also lacked in regards to technology as well.
I think in Pittsfield, bike lanes on North Street has been a huge discussion. And I think one of the big parts of that is everyone says nobody uses them. They're riding on the sidewalks. And it causes a lot of confusion. And then jaywalking. That's another big one, which is dangerous. But we're investing in crosswalks and redoing all this stuff. Are those things that will be enforced, or?
So jaywalking is a city ordinance. It's a $1 fine. Last I knew.
Okay.
That's stuff that needs to be readdressed. I know Chief Wynn, back when he was here, was trying to readdress it as well. But in order to get that to go through, we actually had to go through Trista Farley to try to get legislation. It's a crazy process to do it. My problem with jaywalking is when we talk about educating the people in regards to how to cross the street. I don't buy into that. Okay, if you're crossing and you don't want to go to a crosswalk because it's quicker to go from point A to point B by skipping the crosswalk and going here, that's fine. You're on your own. If you get hit by a vehicle, not to say that not going to be a fault depending on circumstances, but you're taking more responsibility on yourself if you're not going to do that. Sit there and have the conversation all day of where you're supposed to cross versus a signalized crosswalk versus an unsignaled crosswalk. I don't spend too much time on that stuff. I think at the end of the day, people are smart enough to know where they should. They just choose not to when it's all said and done. I walk North Street quite a bit. Last year for sure during the fall with our co-responders that work with the police department, just to have that communication with our unhoused people on North Street and have communication. How you guys doing? What's going on today? Here's some information for you. If tomorrow's the day that you guys want to walk through that archway and get some help, we'll hold your hand through it in the process. And there's a lot of interesting conversations that come up as a result of that. The bike issue, it's not as prevalent as people think. The perception of what North Street is not as prevalent as people think. And I can say that, and I can spit dead at you to prove that. But again, if that's not how you feel, it's not going to make a difference. I understand that. So, we continue to try to have a presence up there as much as we possibly can. But I think when Ricardo first started implementing all these design changes in the bike lanes, I was one of those guys like, this guy's crazy. It's almost as if he kind of saw the future, though, in regards to what was coming with the e-bikes and all that stuff. Because I think they're utilized more than people want to give them credit for. It's like anything else. When you see something negative, you're going to pounce on it, and you're going to scream about it, and you're going to hear that more than you're going to hear the accolades of, wow, out of the 10 bikes that went by the street, 7 of them were actually in the crosswalk. That's fantastic. No, we're going to yell at the 2 or 3 that weren't, right? So again, I think the perception kind of outweighs what's really going on.
I mean, bike sales are up the highest they've ever been in the country, and they know it's being catapulted by e-bikes. They're becoming a reliable transportation for people. So I do agree that I don't think bicycles are going away, but I'm sure you've received call, because I get messages on it a lot, and some of them, I mean, they're doing 30, 40 miles an hour, and they're weaving in and out. And
so if they're operating recklessly and they stop for us, 100%, we're going to stop them. We're going to take care of that. And if there is a crime that's being committed, or if there's a citation that can be issued, we're going to write that fine and issue that citation. It's just, like I said, I think once the governor and the new legislation comes out, it's going to make life easier. You're going to see a lot more restrictions on these e-bikes, regardless of needing permits to operate them, needing insurance, needing registrations for bikes that you see right now that don't require it. There's a misconception in regards to what's an e-bike versus what's an e-moto. It has to have pedals, right? So, all right, well, kids will take the pegs off and put pedals on. All right, well, they have to actually engage, right? They can't just be there for looks. So again, I mean, there's all these misconceptions in regards to what makes it legal versus illegal. So the law needs to be clear to help law enforcement kind of enforce this type of stuff.
I remember when I was a kid, this happened with mopeds.
Yes.
When they first hit the scene, it was like everybody got one and everybody was doing everything with it, jumping over stuff and crashing them. And so I do think, unfortunately, like anything new to the market, it can be used the wrong way. And I think that's it's one of the things I get messaged about the most, and I did want to ask you about that. I guess as far as, I don't know what the other biggest issues would be. I mean, crime, anytime there's a shooting, we hear a lot about gangs, we hear all that, drugs, gangs, things are becoming unsafe. Statistically, where are we at?
Listen, like I said before, and I've talked to other people, Pittsfield's a safe city. Again, we can talk statistics, and we can lay that out on the table and make it as clear as you want. But again, it's perception. If somebody's going to open fire next to an ice cream shop, even though it may have been targeted, but yet you still have all these innocent people that are in the background, I can sit there and say that all day long. It doesn't make them feel any better, and I understand that, and I get that. All we can tell the people is that we're out there, we're continuing to do the best that we can, even with staffing being what it is. We're going to continue to put our guys out there and make them present with the prosecutor's office and with the help of the sheriff's department and the partnerships that we do have, and getting our individuals out there and do these investigations to hold the people accountable that have done these things. And I think that's how you make the community feel safe, right? So when you take the bad guys off the street, you prosecute them and you put them in jail. That's how you make the community feel safe, to know that, listen, it's not just, these aren't just acts that are happening, the police are paying attention to them. It's not just acts that are happening that the prosecutor's office isn't prosecuting and that they're not going to jail. We're all doing our part. We're all trying to make it work to the best of our ability. But Pittsfield's a safe community.
I mean, Tim, when you're prosecuting, or Sheriff, when you have them incarcerated, are you seeing people with gang affiliation or members of gangs?
There are gang affiliations, not a question, and the sheriff can tell you that right from inside the House of Correction. Oftentimes we have to ship other people out because of the relationships with the gangs that are going on. But what really needs to be talked about and shown is that the amount of effort that we have put in the last 4 years, and the sheriff for a long time, and the Pittsfield Police Department, but now it's working all in conjunction with each other, is the amount of guns and drugs that we are taking off the street. We're taking kilos of drugs off the street every day. We're taking so many guns off the street. So the only way we can see to reduce that problem is to arrest the bad guys and to get people who have the guns. And we're doing that on a repetitive basis, and we're very successful with these cases in court. There's just so many, oftentimes there are numerous investigations going on at the same time as we speak right now. So the stuff that's being done, we're looking to get rid of the guns, we're looking to get rid of the drugs, because those people aren't even from Berkshire County. Those people are coming in from, Lowell, and they're coming in from Lawrence, they're coming in that far away now. And we've actually hit those locations with both our state police and the Pittsfield Police Department, and going to those locations and getting the source houses. We did it in West Springfield as well a couple of years ago. We went down and hit the source house in West Springfield where all the drugs were coming from. Lawrence is a big one. So we just hit one in Lawrence. And that's the work that PPD is doing, and with our task force with the state police and most of the other law enforcement agencies in the county, we're all working together to get rid of this gun and drug problem, because that's really it. These people coming in, they're not addicts. These people don't have problems. They're doing this for pure greed. They're making money off of this. They're coming in here. This is fertile ground. They want to come in. They want to poison our kids. They want to destroy our community. So we're not taking that. We're not going to tolerate. Pittsfield Police doesn't tolerate it. We don't tolerate it. And the sheriff also helps us and shares us information about, who are the bad guys that when we do catch them up, and who they connected with. So we know that, and even when we have something that goes down, we have to watch out for retaliation, and we were aware of that.
Right.
And particularly in the most recent case, I was concerned about that. So the work is being done is tremendous, and you guys just don't see it, and you won't see it, and nor should you see it. But we are working continuously to get rid of the guns and drugs out of our community.
Are you able to monitor that from when guests of yours that are incarcerated? Are you able to see who's coming and seeing them or who they're talking to?
Absolutely, and we share that information with investigators. I have investigators in my facility all the time, from the task force, from the PD, the detectives. They're up all the time. The same people that are committing crimes out in the street are the same people we have locked up in our facility, and the information just goes from inside to outside, outside to inside. So sure, we monitor the phones, we monitor mail. And when things come across our desk, and they're monitored every day, it's getting very challenging because, legislation has made it difficult for us. Every inmate across the state of Massachusetts gets unlimited free phone calling. Okay?
Wow.
Yes. So I would have liked to seen every victim across Massachusetts get a free phone call. Okay? There happens to be, unfortunately, there is a trend going, it's nationally. Yes, it is. It's nationally. And the sheriffs, we have a saying, victims have become invisible, and the accused are now the victims because they have so many special interest groups advocating for them. But it makes it difficult because you'd be surprised when that homicide took place just recently.
Yes, yeah. The one near Dairy Cone.
Phones are going up. The phone calls are going crazy in our place. They increased by 300%. Okay, because the information comes in, and then guys are on the phone. They're talking, and it makes it very challenging for us to monitor all that stuff. But so
is that stuff you're able to, if you intercept something, be able to go to Chief Maddalena and say, "Hey, we got
the investigators." Yeah, between our investigative team and we share it all the time.
Phone calls, especially. We very frequently we get calls from the sheriff's office. We get phone calls,
especially with domestic cases.
Especially domestic cases.
We have individuals who violate the 219A restraining orders, so we're notifying them all the time. The other thing I just wanted to mention, I said, is look at the drug problem's never going away. We've been at this 40 some odd years. It's not going away.
It just changes.
It changes. Technology changes things. The way these individuals operate changes constantly. But if we're able to curb it, to keep it to a minimum, and unfortunately, along with drug trafficking comes other crimes. You have the larcenies, the B&Es, the shootings, the assault and batteries, the assault and battery, dangerous weapons, and unfortunately, homicides. So it's not going away, but if you're able to curb it and keep it to a low minimum, that's our goal. But you're never going to get rid of it. It's not going away nationally, even with what this new administration is trying to do on a national level. It's still going to be there. These guys are very, very intelligent. They're great business. they're great business people, believe it or not, and they know how to make money. And it's going to continue. As long as there is a supply, there will be a demand. And trying to knock the supply down, which means trying to take care of the people who are infected or affected by drugs. If we can curb those numbers down, then the supply will slowly go down.
In fact, it almost works too, because it's like a plague.
Yeah.
I've watched people I know have their whole life ruined.
Exactly.
And it's so sad to see that. Anybody can fall to that.
Absolutely.
And so many families have in the community. It touches and affects so many individuals within our community. So it's important. That's why we deal with the addiction issue and a rehabilitation process. But we have to go after the sources that are coming in, that are people that are not addicts. These are people who are preying on our people. These are people who are trying to come for the cash and really basically poisoning our community. But then we stay on top of it, and so we investigate them, we find them, we see the people that are coming in, we do thorough investigations, and then at the end of the day, hopefully we're making the arrest. And a lot of times we end up confiscating all the funds. In some cases we've gotten up to $100,000 of forfeited funds that were confiscated because that's what we get the source of funds.
Which can go to community programs, right?
I go a lot of community programming. I put money towards the West Side Legends, put it towards the Christian Center, I put it towards Roots Rising.
Training equipment. You can't use it for salaries or payroll.
Right.
I think training's huge.
Yeah. Training's huge, and we do training all the time. I send my lawyers all across the country to become better and better at what they do. And we're staying up on the technology. You have to stay up on the technology, just like the police department does. We have to be above the tools that they have. And AI is a dangerous thing right now for us, that we're staying on top of that. There's just so many different avenues of how people are getting information and sharing information. Theft is a big issue, too, through the internet. So
there will be people who ask me if this video is AI.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
It amazes me that when people ask me, is that really you in those videos, or do you just use a photo of yourself? And I said, dude, I would make myself a lot better looking. But I actually get that.
How can you enhance that look?
I had to match your hat today. I knew you were wearing a hat, so I had to match your hat. I'm trying to follow your style now.
Yeah, I had to step it up today. I knew you'd be looking good, so. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for doing this and taking the time out to do this.
It's important, Mike, and we appreciate what you do. We appreciate your show. I watch it all the time. It's great because it's just every day there's some new information that's coming out, whether it's pizzas or whether it's about stories of people in the community. I gotta commend you for doing that, because that's the only way we get the news out. And the only good thing, you tell good stories. You tell positive stories. Unfortunately, the media doesn't always cover positive stories.
No, and social media is changing because people want clicks. They want attention, and they're going to go out there, and rather than just complaining about them. You have to combat it with better information and more content that is appealing to people.
Right. But you're doing it, and so thank you for as a citizen of Berkshire County, as a citizen of Pittsfield, thank you for the work that you do.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Well, thank you again, guys. We'll have to do this again soon.
I just wanted to say one thing. When Chief Maddalena talked about jaywalking, it's only $1 fine. What was your monthly payment last year? Last week or last month? Was it $20?
I made him walk through all the crosswalks here. Did you guys notice that? I made him walk through every
He did. I was gonna cheat and come this way here.
I actually jaywalked.
I wouldn't let him. So that's my job now.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things I started with was stating the fact that we don't do a good job telling our own story. So I'd be remiss to finish this without giving my guys accolades. You know, we're understaffed. Supposed to be 97, we got 89. We're trying to hire more people. But between our patrol, drug unit, anti-crime, detective bureau, crime scene, everybody through and through, they do a fantastic job, especially in the summertime. I give those guys all the credit in the world. They work at 12, 16, 18 hours a day, sometimes more than that to cover shifts throughout it. And again, that's the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, parades, fireworks, live on the lakes, coming in and doing these extra shifts because we're all for Team Pittsfield. We all want to have these events to help Pittsfield grow and to give everybody something to do. But there's people that at the end have to work those and make that all happen. So
I have an academy coming through. We're going to have some new officers coming in, right?
We got 6 graduating pretty soon. Hopefully putting another 10 in September if we're fortunate enough. That maybe will help us get to where we want to be. It's been a lot of just chasing our tails.
It seems to be up and down all the time.
We're getting there, but these guys do a great job. And it's fantastic. And sometimes I do these interviews and I forget to give the congratulations and the accolades to the guys who really need it and what's important for it. It's the patrolmen out there.
No, and I appreciate, again, you guys coming on. So anytime you have anything you want to put out on this platform, you're more than welcome. Just message me. I'm happy to have you.
I appreciate it.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you again, guys. We'll do this soon. I appreciate it.
All right.